Hey guys, Todd here with another video for you, and today we're going to discuss tips on buying a Mac for college or just a student in general. I know I see this question floated a lot on Twitter, and I've been asked this question a lot, so I thought I'd tackle it. I know a few years ago I tackled tips on buying a first Mac or stuff like that, but this one's more dedicated to students and college students. So, as the years have progressed, the Apple notebook lines or laptops have changed quite drastically since a few years ago when I did my last video. Now we have the iPad, Macbook Air, the MacBook, Macbook Pro, and all these different variations. So basically, I'm just going to give my opinions and my thoughts on if I was going to college right now, what laptop would be the best for me, or a typical college student that's going into college. So basically, here are my notes. Let's start with the MacBook. I have previously owned a MacBook. About 2-3 years ago was my first laptop that I ever bought. But the laptop, the MacBook has actually, it's changed over the years. They've added some new specs. They've made it a unibody because it used to be a plastic one. So basically, I think this computer, it starts at $999. I think this is great for any just typical college student that's looking for word processing, that doesn't really game, just want to put their music on there, and just want a simple laptop, and they're not really geeky, and maybe they have an iPhone or an iPad that they want to sync. Well, now it's a post-PC era. We don't really have to sync anymore, but that's until the fall. That's another story. But anyway, the MacBook is a 2.4 gigahertz processor, Intel Core 2 Duo, which is a great processor. My old MacBook Pro that I have is the same as that, and I still have it, and it's about 4 years old, and it still runs everything pretty decent. So I think it's a great processor. If you're just doing word processing, surfing the web, doing email, basic video editing with iMovie, maybe GarageBand, stuff like that, this computer will be more enough power for you. It's a unibody design, like I said before. It's got an LED backlit screen, which is a 3.3-inch screen, which is a little small if you're used to bigger, like a 15 or anything bigger monitors. But eventually you'll get used to it, and you'll see how to adapt, with the screen size. Like I said before, my main computer used to be a MacBook, and I got really used to it, and I actually preferred the smaller screen when I took it, from here to there to a friend's house and stuff like that, or always on the go. So I think that will really help out. Also, it comes with a 250 gigabyte hard drive or a 320 gigabyte hard drive, whatever option you go for. And it has the GeForce 320 in it, which is a decent graphics card. It's not a top of the line, and I'm sure you could probably game on this, light gaming. I wouldn't consider really heavy duty gaming, but like I said, this computer is not really geared towards somebody that's really a hardcore gamer. So now comes the MacBook Air. When I did my video before, like I said, the MacBook Air wasn't even around. I think it's only been around for 2 years. I think this computer really this is probably my top pick. If I was going to college right now, I'd buy a MacBook Air. And why? Because it's small, it's portable, it's like this thick, and I think it comes with an SSD drive, which makes everything booting insanely fast. So I mean, and it's the same price point as the MacBook. So I think the MacBook Air and the MacBook is really the computer for a college student nowadays to kind of weigh in their options and think, well, which one's really right for me? I think if you want a little more flexibility and you want a little bit more power, I think the MacBook would actually give that to you more than the MacBook Air, because you get a little bit more hard drive space, because the MacBook Air only has the SSD, like I said before, which is only, I believe it's 64 gigabytes and an option of 128 with the 11-inch model, and then they have a 13-inch model, which is actually the 128 and 256. Sorry about that. Looking at my notes, a lot of numbers to remember. So they have two options for the MacBook Air, and the lowest MacBook Air at the 11 is exactly the same price point as the MacBook. But the only thing is you get an 11-inch screen, so you're missing 2 inches. So that could be the problem there for most college kids, because I know a lot of people nowadays need the bigger screen. So I think if you have the money to go with the 13-inch MacBook, and I think that one starts at, sorry, look at my notes here, guys. There's just too many price points to remember here. So basically, the 64 gigabyte bottom of the line MacBook Air starts at $999, which is the same price point as the MacBook. Then you have the 11-inch 120 gigabyte, which is the top line for the 11-inch, goes at $1199, so about $1,200. So there you go. You're already going over your $1,000 limit. Probably that's most college kids' budgets, about $1,000 to $1,500. And then you got the 13-inch with the 120 gigabyte, which is $1,299, so about $1,300. And then you got the 256, which is a 13-inch MacBook Air. That starts at $1,699. I would say that $1,699. You're better off just buying yourself a MacBook Pro. But anyway, now let's get on to the MacBook Pro. This computer is not going to be for most college kids. This one might be for the gamer, like I said, or somebody that's already into doing graphic design, doing video editing, like hardcore video editing with the new Final Cut Pro 10 out. And if you're looking to use that, and also if you want to do some little bit of video gaming, these computers are more geared for you. Always keep in mind, guys, this is kind of a big thing. I should have stayed this up. But make sure you future-proof yourself when buying a laptop. Don't just go the cheap end and go, okay, well, I got, so much money and I have this extra, maybe I'll get an extra accessory, an iPod or some other accessories with my computer. Don't cheap out on yourself. Make sure you actually try to future-proof yourself. Give yourself like, hey, what am I going to be doing within 2 years? Because that's what happened to me when I bought my MacBook. I didn't want to break the bank because I didn't think I was going to like a Mac. An OS 10 and all that. But, it turns out I actually fell in love with it, changed my life. And then I seen myself doing more hardware-intensive stuff, like doing video editing, music production. And yeah, iMovie is a great thing. I use iMovie to edit these, but if you're going to really get into video editing and music production, you're going to need a beefier machine. And then that's when I purchased my MacBook Pro. So just to keep that in mind, guys, if you're new, if this is your first time buying a Mac, or you're just not really, into that kind of thing, you're not a geek like I am, or most people are, that are Apple users, but that doesn't mean anything. Just make sure you really do your research and try to future-proof yourself. But anyway, with all that said, let's go back to the MacBook Pro. It starts now the MacBook Pro actually has 3 different models, and about 2 years ago, this wasn't the case. It was just a 15-inch and a 17-inch. So the MacBook Pro now, even if you have a little bit extra money to spend, you can actually, go with the MacBook Pro. The 13-inch starts at $1,200, which is a decent machine. It's a 2.3 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo, or actually it's a dual core, sorry. And it comes with a 4 gigabytes of RAM, and it's 320 to 500 gigabytes depending on which model. There is 2 different types of options with the 13-inch. Like I said before, one's 2.3 gigahertz dual core. It's an i5. Then you got the 2.7, it's a dual core, and it's an i7, which that one goes for $1,500. So like I said, if you have a couple of $100 more, you might want to look yourself in to get the MacBook Pro if you want to try to future-proof yourself. That's always a good thing to keep in mind. Then let's go to the 15-inch MacBook Pros. It starts at 2 gigahertz, which is a quad-core i7. That's a pretty good processor. It starts in at $1,800. Now, as you can see, guys, we're getting to the top of the line of computers here. This will probably break most college students or students' budgets. So that's what I said. Really do your research and make sure that if you do spend $1,000, hey, then you're going to go out and spend another, $2,000 on another computer that you said, well, I should have did this in the first place. So that's what I just keep in mind. Basically, the top of the line 15-inch is a 2.2 gigahertz quad-core i7, which has 4 gigs of RAM and 750 gigabyte hard drive. And like I said before, the bottom line one was a 500 gigabyte. Sorry, this is a jumble mess, guys, but there's a lot of facts to keep in my mind here. And then we go to the 17-inch 2.2 gigahertz. This computer is more for your pro and video editing user. I don't think a lot of college kids would go with the 17-inch. I think a lot of kids, college kids, or just students in general, probably go for the 13-inch or 15-inch, bottom line 15-inch. That's my suggestion, or my opinion. I think you should go for the bottom line 15-inch. It's a great machine, and I think it would last you, it would future-proof you for a few years. But then, guys, there's another option now. I don't know, personally, I don't know how well students would get along with the iPad, now that the iPad's an option, and plus it's only, you can get the basic iPad now for $500, which does a lot of stuff. If you're just a person on the go and you're constantly consuming media and you watch videos and do that, you can also buy, keyboards now to place your iPad in there and you can use it to type. You got Pages now on the App Store, Keynote, and all those applications, the iWork suite, I should say. And you even got iMovie because it has a camera. So I think the iPad could go to some college kids out there, ones that are really into computers, that really don't care. But nowadays you have to have a computer at college. It's necessary. You can't get away without it. You can always go to the computer lab. They always have computers provided. So if you're one of those kids, you're like, you like going to the computer lab. You don't like sitting in your dorm room, and you want to socialize with people. I think the iPad would be a great thing for you, and plus you wouldn't break the bank. So that's my opinion, guys. I hope this helps you. If you have any other further questions, just please ask me. I have been a college student. I was in this boat just as much as you. But nowadays, guys, it's a lot different from when I started college in 2000 10 years ago, so a lot of things have changed. There's more options for you, and computer prices have come down. So like always, guys, just feel free to leave your questions below, or you can send me an email at toddrecommends@gmail.com. I can go into a little bit more detail in some of these computers or my opinions if you like. Also, you can follow me up on Twitter. It's twitter.com/ToddKedwards. Like I always say, guys, this is the follow me outside the conversation of YouTube. It's great for you guys to comment on the videos and keep the conversation going here, but sometimes the conversation goes offline and it happens on Twitter. I post about things, stories, or that. It's just a quicker way to get response with me. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on my next video, and if you like the video and you like the content, please push the like button and subscribe to the content, because that helps me out, it helps you guys out, because I keep on doing this and putting out good content for you. And as always, guys, I'll see you next time.